I feel like it's the
Great
first
shit.
scene of the movie. Well, not the first scene, but early on in Scarface. Mitchell and Erickson arrive in Austin, and the fucking moon. You want the moon? You know,
Mm.
getting bigger. You know, pretty
It's like-
soon Erickson will be fucking walking around shirtless with a tiger.
Ah!
And orangutan serving him drinks.
Oh, I can't even have a baby with you. Your womb is so polluted.
You're pretty good at remembering old movies, Andy. Have you just been watching, rewatching some
I
classics?
just remember fucked up shit. It's like I think about my dad would go, "Oh, there was a mudslide there that killed 6 people," and I just remember lines from movies like fucking I can't remember the name of the movie, the fucking Full Metal Jacket, where he's
Yeah.
shooting down and goes, "How can you shoot women and children? Because you don't lead them
Yeah.
as much." And that's like, oh fuck, that's something to shove some happy memory of a birthday party out of my head and replace it, because that's just too valuable to not have in your brain for short reference. And then my dad would go, "Well, that's where 6 people were murdered." All right, keep driving, Dad. Yeah, he would remember that and places to eat. Back, we'd drive by and go, "Oh, there's a good pie place over here," and it's right. And I still remember the place where the mudslides are. I never researched it, but my dad was probably giving me those. What are they called, Chad? Those fantastic horrors, or that are on the YouTube.
Oh yeah. Fantastic horror, fascinating horror. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just my dad would just do that. I guess that's what happened. He's one of his defining moments was seeing somebody's head get lopped off in a traffic accident. Like he was just on a sidewalk, probably holding old fucking white trash records. No offense, but my dad bought the same stupid shit everybody else did, and it was fucking shitty. Well, I mean, the music of the day was not good.
What
Well,
would be
big band, but like
there's
fucking
a
all
thing,
them.
hold on. There's a thing on YouTube, what's in your bag? And they
Yeah.
talk about like Fat Mike to find out what records Fat Mike bought from Amoeba
Yeah.
Records. What's in your dad's bag?
Well, there'd be like well, I can't think of like a bunch of novelty orchestras,
Like
that
Spike Jones?
Spike Jones, but not Spike Jones, like the worst
Yeah.
versions of it. The ones where you can't even go, "Well, I'll hang on to this one." I mean, David rifled them and got kind of the cool titles, and then by the time Larry went through them, and eliminated that, and then I guess, what happened was my dad had kidney failure, to go along with the other things that didn't go right. And I was the only one around at the time, so I cleaned out his room, his hoard, where his hospital bed was, but it had to be a sterile room. So my dad had to be displaced from living amongst walls of records, boxes of old fucking first day cover stamps, coin collections, fingernail clipper collections, whatever. He just had.
Fingernail,
he was-
like the clippers?
He would.
Dad would collect-
It was a weird thing with him because he had like it was like a man purse that he just slung on the back of his wheelchair,
Yeah.
like a little things, and he would have shit in that, and it was his own like fucking thing. And then he. Fingernail clippers, he didn't like parting with them. You go, "Hey, where?" Eventually, everybody's like, or somebody would go, "Where's the fingernail clippers?" And my dad would go, "Oh," and then he'd bring out a pair and say, "They always disappear around here." And it was like, okay, so when he passed and we got to really go. Well, I'll get back to when I was cleaning it out for kidney failure, and I took all his shit out of his room, and all the records I carried up and put in one room, and while I'm in the middle of all this fucking just taking all of my dad's hoard, and then I had to clean everything. My brother Larry got kicked out of jail or released from jail with a broken heart. He had a broken heart, and so if you've ever tried to work with somebody with a broken heart, they're not going to help. So basically, I was carrying fucking, all his records, his fucking sweating and carrying them up and putting them down. And then Larry was in there fucking rifling them. You fucking motherfucker with a broken heart. You can do this shit.
He was.
He had like 30 records stashed over, like he can't help me with shit on there. I painted everything and we got Dad moved back in, but it was short lived. No, he was there for a while. And things really went downhill health wise. That's when he started. My dad had he had nothing below the knees, and he had diabetes, kidney failure, congestive heart failure, and he's a skosh heavy for a guy with no feet. Although we could not prove it by putting him on a scale.
Yeah, you'd have to get one of those scales that they weigh big halibut in Alaska.
Yeah. And he had
wheel Dad to where they recycle cans.
Yeah.
Hold on, Dad.
And he had.
But you'd have to put him in a shopping cart.
Shopping cart would have been more mobile because he had like these Ernst and Jennings or whatever, the fucking the vets, you guys go over there, storm Normandy or whatever, and then you need a wheelchair. They don't even want you to have wide wheels. you fucking gave up your life and stormed the beaches, and they give you these fucking real thin. My dad had these fucking wheelchairs, and that's why he would tip over, the inattentive nature of the family, and but sometimes those were just tip hazards. And he had this one wheelchair.
9-year-old was in charge of Dad's care. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I wasn't. I mean, I was no Nurse Ratchet. I was not a disciplinarian on it, but one of the wheelchairs, he had this big fucking one like a love seat. I don't know how fucking fat they thought he was getting. And he always sat in a regular sized wheelchair, and then towards the end they gave him a fat man's wheelchair, and then my dad resisted that by shrinking even more. It was like that Jimmy Carter photo everybody saw. How hilarious! How fucking wonderful.
So Andy, what you're saying is, like everyone knows what a regular wheelchair looks like. That someone in the healthcare profession decided your dad needed an extra wide chair.
Yeah, and maybe it was just he just clunky fucking wheelchairs and components and shit. And maybe it was, I don't know how that was one we were dragging him around in towards the end. It was like, God damn, man, it was like that Lily Tomlin sitting in the big chair or whatever,
The two.
But we'd have fucked up. I don't know why Larry never took an interest in remodeling and fixing up them wheelchairs, but they would break down, the wheels would come off, and you take them over to the Roseburg VA hospital. That was always a fun day. We'd load up as a family and drive over to the VA hospital, and my dad would have a 4 or 5 hour wait and be all pissed off, and Mom would be staggering around talking to whatever insane vet. And it was a good time for the kids. That's what they mean by at risk. I can't believe I didn't.
Isn't that how you met your molester?
I met him through the VA hospital. Yeah, it was like that song. It's fun to play at the YMCA. It should have been a song that said, "Hey kids, don't play at the vets at the VA.
Don't go play at the VA.
You get
stay away from the damn VA.
You get it right in the A if you go to the VA." And I told you guys this at one time. Well, this was my grandpappy. He was my mom, my grandma's. Well, he wasn't my real grandpa. My real grandpa had the decency to kill himself many years before this. And this grandpa was in that home. And he was, I don't know what level of troop he was or whatever, but he was getting the same shitty treatment and sitting in his own fucking shit. And then he got put over in like a loony ward. There was like one area where it's like, kind of calm and like a patio and people having fun. And then on the other side of the wall, you could hear people yelling and you could somebody singing the national anthem and usually bedlam. But then when Grandpa Larry was over there, I went over there and there's a canteen. You could go get stuff, VA stuff, so it was cheap, junky stuff. And I think my mom would give me $10, or and then I'd steal another $5 out of change, the hole in her purse. And then, but I bought socks, and I felt like I wanted to give the vets a socks for Christmas. And I took them. It was like a 6-pack, and I ripped them open in there, and I gave a guy socks. And then, when you're
like you were just hitting on people over there at the hospital.
Maybe you instigated it.
Yeah, some victim blaming going on, but I don't know.
I don't want to. I don't want to.
Such a flirt, right?
Look at these new socks.
Hey, boys, I noticed you don't have any socks. Thanks, I support you. Thanks for what you do over there.
Oh, sorry, you don't have feet. You have a roommate?
That's what it is.
Yeah, I was drawn to vets. It's a bummer. But I went in there and I gave. It was like feeding seagulls, though. I gave one crazy dude, but I remember they scared. I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared of any. Well, these people made me very scared after the stock incident. I refused to go up in there to see Grandpa Larry, and fuck him, he never really liked me anyway. He had his chances. He made it clear. He goes, he didn't like kids, but he liked teenagers. It's so cool when a guy knows what he's into. So I never got old enough around Grandpa Larry to turn his head. That was his name too. Yeah, we had Larry and Grandpa Larry, and I think Larry ended up with Grandpa Larry's gold teeth by default.
Because they said Larry on them.
Well, Grandma thought that was,
because they fit.
my grandma had I don't. She's just real tacky, I guess. She'd fit in Bisbee. She'd be all turquoise. Turquoise and fucking bedazzled with minerals and shit.
Right on.
But she melted all Larry's teeth into one big tooth, and my grandma wore that. She went
for the big chewing job.
She was always one. She was like, I need a chain to put this gold on, and she bought into that. And who doesn't? That's why I got gold bars around here to represent wealth. But she thought, gold, hang on to the gold or whatever. But nobody ever saw that gold tooth after May was gone.
But see, you need more than one tooth for a tooth to work.
It was a bunch of teeth. They took out when he died. They melted him or whatever, and then he had he was a Scotsman, so he's probably hoarding it there for.
He probably had some gold teeth in his pocket.
Yeah, in lieu of tipping, he got gold plates on his teeth.
I'm still picturing Larry breaking into the mortuary, crouched over dead Grandpa with a hammer and chisel, harvesting teeth. That's probably how Larry ended up with them.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd harvest. But I don't think he was. I think he was. He had a pretty good I don't know what you'd call it, income, but good barter power back in his real crazy days. So I don't think he really got into digging up anything, but he probably could have had somebody, dig it up for him. I don't know what he was.
I'm a little.
He was like a shoe salesman who also drove the truck.
Reset the stage for me and everyone a little bit. This is your Grandpa Larry.
Well,
is he your step grandpa, or did he marry your grandma after your other grandpa committed suicide?
Yeah, my grandma went.
And this is your mom's or your dad's mother?
My dad's mom, and she was. All I knew about her was she was a drunk party girl. And when my dad's dad was a suicide, and my dad found him, and his his ex-wife at the time, she tailspinned into, so anyway, she was a problem. My dad had to kind of take care of her, instead of his dream job, he took care of his mom, who had big cans and a loud mouth, and fucking I dug her, I could see but it was always like there was a resentment. This was as dark as it got around my house, and the health problems is my dad with no legs, and he was on oxygen, and my grandma was on oxygen. And I remember my dad going, "Where's that oxygen?" And she in there hogging it.
Oh, God.
It's a bummer when you got 2 generations on one oxygen tank in any country.
Oh.
But that's what was going on.
Oh, that's a real Sophie's choice there.
But she was
minute.
always trying to make it up.
Andy, they were
Yes.
sharing one tank.
Yeah, at the end at the Andrist house, you know, there and that Larry was upstairs. He had that's where he had the fucking little windows chipped out and was running spliced cables and you know, and he was like he was out of so yeah, when the kidney thing happened, this was a few years later, Larry started running amok for a while, you know, he adjusted and was helping because we really needed somebody there with my dad and the kidney dialysis on top of everything else. My mom was not real, like she would go to the store with a grocery list a block away from the house and get to the store, no list, no fucking list, you know. And it happens to me quite a bit too, but it's just like I don't have to take care of another person with the amount of shit, like my mom was basically a full-time nurse with no training and and criticism to boot. And then Grandma May moved in, and then Larry out of jail was going to be, well, he's going to pitch in and help. And I think he did get a check for helping, like somehow like got a check for that. But then, then he fell back into
Larry
shit.
finagled the VA program, got paid.
Yeah, like that. I don't think he finagled it, but
you guys couldn't do it.
And I think he was there to do, like nobody. I was off. I think I was off learning how to exploit the college system, for not for grades, but for Pell Grant money or whatever. But Larry was, he was off adventuring in jail, and then he bounced in
jail and have a girlfriend or
Larry always had chicks.
He had someone like right out of jail, didn't he? Or someone he met while he was in jail? Like
I don't know. He had like there was how there's the trades in the NFL.
I like where this is going already.
I think him and George traded ladies, and then one took off, and I don't know if he still had the signing rights or whatever, but he had
got a girlfriend to be named later.
Yeah, I think Larry had
a red shirt.
Larry had chicks from probably the age of 15 until whenever, he still buys fucking new shoes and pants, so he still has plans. But he can't even, not that he doesn't need to anymore, but I don't even know if he could walk into the yard far enough to shit without getting, out of breath. So I don't think he's going to find a lady.
She's got to be real close, is what you're saying. She's got to be closer than one shit away.
But I really,
or the steps to a shit away.
I was telling Chad, I listened to the Captain Hook, and I liked what he said about
Dr. Hook.
Dr. Hook. Captain Hook. It's all pirate songs.
What he said about
Captain Hook,
being
the Disney character.
The Captain Hook podcast is still coming up, but that hasn't been released yet.
He's doing all the hooks.
Dustin Hoffman's on that one. I think Dustin was mentioned in that one, right? But anyway, like about getting married, he goes, I'm going to start an adventure. I think I'll climb a mountain. I think I need a bag of rocks. And that's what, like, I think Larry was an adventurer, and he just always had a bag of rocks, like he didn't need, he needed he just needed to run amok and not have shit around for a while. He didn't, Larry didn't get
a wild mare like that down. Oh, it wouldn't be a mare, would it? A stallion.
Yeah,
he was a stallion like that needs to run free.
Right. He should have. Larry should have stayed on his own. He would have had a yard with peacocks and a bunch of weird shit. And,
you would be walking the tiger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
meanwhile, Larry huffed a whole tank of oxygen, and now Grandma and Dad have to share one because Larry huffed it.
No, Grandpa Larry went out early, but he didn't like me, and he he's a fucking he was a drunk too, but and a Scotsman, so trifecta there, but he he didn't like me. And then when he was in a nursing home before he went to the final stay at the veterans or whatever it was, I went in there and he had a stroke. And Grandma May goes, "Do you know who this is?" And he goes, "Yeah, Bandy." That's the first time I even heard him try a variation of my name because he just didn't give a shit. But he called me Bandy.
Called you Bandy?
Well, he's trying to say, and he's trying. I think he's, it's like, I think more out of stubborn pride, he was trying to answer the question because May was saying,
Yeah, of course I fucking know who it is.
Yeah,
You old bag.
I'm Bandy. I didn't get a chance to go up to him, that was probably the last time I saw him.
What if
cool
he always
"Hey, man."
hated you? What if he always hated you? He thought you had a stupid name, Bandy. That's a fucking dumbass name. I hate this fucking
What
kid.
name is
And
that?
then on his deathbed, he finds out it's Andy, and he's like,
I don't know if I kept the spirit alive, but me and my brother Jeff used to drive. We got a hold of his Dodge truck. That we inherited that, and that was fun to get airborne. There's this place right by our house that you go up a hill, and then it had I forget how it was configured, but you could just go up that fast and launch into the air, and not like Dukes of Hazzard,
like the French Connection when they go.
But it was like it wasn't like a leap over a bridge. It was more like a skateboarder, and you go woo, fuck, I don't know. I think you'd land more on the back end of the truck, like more towards the tailgate than the front wheels. And my brother Jeff was the first one who learned how to do it. And then I kind of got that truck and I took over. And it was just a short little loop from the house. So how could you not take the extra minute to drive around and endanger yourself and the neighbors?
Yeah. You have one way you can go with no jump and another way you can go with a jump.
Yeah, and Lucky, and that was there's the nicest house in Coquille is the Lucky Bonnie Mansion, and that was just I would have been Dukes of Hazzarding right in front of the Lucky Bonnie house, and my brothers, we fucked up a lot of Lucky Bonnie's shit, but it was it was all in it was all an adventure. We didn't do it maliciously. We were just bad neighbors.
Sometimes your own party spills over into the party next door.
Yeah, it's like that's why they don't want white trash around. It's not because they hate. It's just because white trash don't know anything. For instance, Lucky Bonnie had these rolling ivy, like mounds, and you could get up on them and leap off and do like pro wrestling and shit. But he had. I didn't think of how much fucking work that must take. Whoa, oh man, did you see what Lucky Bonnie did with them hedges? That must take hours. But we just got up on there and jumped around and smashed it all down. And I guess, to him, that ivy was a lot of hard work and a source of pride to look out the window and see this funky, cool shit. But I'm starting to realize I've had a fucking bad impact on things because I'm an asshole, and the learning curve's been difficult. Let's just say that.
It's still curving.
And then so Lucky Bonnie also had these woods behind his house, and we would play Vietnam in there. It's fine. I don't know. We never played Planet of the Apes there. It seems like it would have been a cool place to do.
Wait a minute. Slow down a minute. Now, when I was a kid, me and the kids in the neighborhood, we played war.
Yes.
But we didn't specifically play Vietnam. I think
wait, did you have a jungle? It sounds like you had a jungle.
Yeah, we had a jungle, but I mean, just the idea, like how that changes the filter through which this whole game is played.
It's like a weird awareness thing that like a young kid would go, to be accurate, we should be playing Vietnam.
Yeah. Right. This is Saigon.
I mean, in the traditional ways you want to play it as a kid, you want to win. You want a chance to win.
The lose.
One kid's yelling, "I'm going to kill you, Japs!" And you have to stop. Whoa! Oh. It's Gooks. We're not killing you. Have to yell, "We're kill you, Gooks!"
Yeah. All I know is you come out of the Tommy. My brothers. You're friends. You run through them woods, and there's some briars, and it's sloped. And again, I'm talking terrain here, yo. Whoa. I'm talking terrain.
Come on now.
Slope. There's ditches. Again, I'm talking terrain. So it was full on, Vietnam hell, and then
I mean,
backwoods of Lucky Bonnies were at least heck. And I would come out of them woods, and it was Vietnam, man. We were in a quagmire. There was no clear victory to, path to
no clear
victory.
path.
Yeah,
Yes,
just
sir.
running around and yelling at each other and shooting. You're dead. No, you're dead. Your fucking legs off, motherfucker. We
Yeah.
didn't use that kind of talk because I didn't know it yet. I wish I
love
would
that
have.
Andy's basically describing that when he was a kid, they went into the jungle, played Vietnam, and is just telling us that he was in the shit.
Yeah,
Yes,
I was in the shit.
Shit, man. Fucking
You're playing
no legs.
when you're playing with older brothers, any kind of a fucking war game. Yeah,
With,
I get.
Andy, with having older brothers, like I've noticed, like with having grandkids, each one is just more street smart as they fucking keep pumping them out. The littler ones just get street smart earlier and earlier. What age did you start using cuss words? Because you said you didn't like that. I would think it'd be a
Probably
real
about
early
sixth
age.
Grade.
Sixth grade. Wow.
I mean,
I was
watching
fourth.
pornos before
I was
going.
fourth when I realized that. Oh wow.
Yeah, the first time I watched porno with my friend Steve, the older gentleman that rented it for me to watch, I didn't even know what was going on.
Your first porno, someone rented it?
Yeah, my man. Well, when I get
Yeah.
Steve.
yeah, so
That
I
guy.
go, yeah, like there would be a video store, and then there would be like the old West doors to a room. And he would go in there, and I'd have to stand there. I wonder, get an adventure, Uncle Steve.
So wait, so there's a guy who walks into the video store
Yeah.
with a young boy that's not his, that he leaves standing at the Western style swinging gates of the film section of the video store. Nobody.
Or there was one where
Crazy.
you could go through a flip book and look at titles. That I remember that too.
Well,
But
hold on a second. This is when video stores pre-Blockbuster.
oh yeah, this would have been.
I remember because in the late 70s, early 80s, my dad speculated and bought a Betamax machine.
Yeah.
Nice.
Had that, and the
Yeah.
local video store sold a lifetime membership in 1978. A lifetime membership to their Betamax selection of video, and there would be an area in the back that would have the swinging saloon doors that were 18 and over could go in.
Yeah.
And this was the way you got videos back then. You had to go somewhere that was not a chain. It was a mom and pop that had to buy things, and it was so fucking crazy because my parents hemmed and hawed to buy that lifetime membership. I think the
lasted
Betamax
3 months. Yeah.
I think the Betamax lasted longer than the video store.
Well,
Uh,
that it was the lifetime of Betamax, not the lifetime of the purchaser.
This
yeah.
tells you specifically what years
think the
I was in
format
trouble.
lasted longer than the store.
Yeah.
This tells you when I did my film work. He would film me, I would get filmed in beta. So, it's like like neither of us saw that coming.
Industry standard at the time. So Andy, he
I'm
was
putting
very-
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beta should
Basically, I
have
was
won
molested
that
in,
war.
like,
Yeah.
It was like they're not even doing that anymore. Now we're doing speakies. Oh shit, man! I was the silent film actor of the day, and then they switched. No, everybody's getting molested in VHS now. Ah, son of a bitch! I gotta reshoot my portfolio.